One of the things about not tilling is that you keep the soil structure together instead of breaking it up and pelletizing it or turning it into tiny little bits. Basically, you destroy the aggregates when you till. What do I mean by soil aggregates? Well, if you dig a hole in your garden, you'll notice that the soil begins to turn into these little tiny clumps, and this is due to microbial activity, root activity, and insect activity, as well as worms and things like that. Well, to show you exactly what I'm talking about, there's a very simple lab that I do with my students. Some soil, you grab some cereal that will basically mimic your soil aggregates. Here's some Rice Krispies. And I add my soil aggregate into the filter there, and I add water. And what I'm going to do is sit here and I would time how long it takes for the 100 milliliters of water that I put in here to infiltrate through and down to the bottom. Now you can see I'm just about all of the 100 milliliters has gone through here. That was fairly fast, right? Well, if I wanted to simulate tillage, like what would happen if I actually tilled up the soil, well, what I need to do is destroy these aggregates. So now what I've done is ground my soil, my Rice Krispies here, into powder, so to speak. I'll till it a little bit more. You know, we like a really nice, soft, tilled soil. So you can see I have my nicely finely ground soil, just like what would happen if I were to run a tiller through the garden. So I'm going to add this water on top and see if you can tell the difference just pretty much immediately. You can see the water just sits there on top. It has nowhere to go. And that is because all of those tiny little grains of the soil, the tilled soil, are now absorbing that water and also creating an impenetrable layer that it can't actually fit its way through. So you get this very slow percolation of water down to the root zone where your plants so desperately need it. Just to prove the point one more time so you have a good visual, here's normal soil with aggregates. And here's what happens when it rains. Right down to the root zone. So you can have little to no water getting where it needs to go. Also, as you saw, that increases the rate of erosion of your good topsoil because now all that water is sitting on top and washing away the very finely ground bits of soil. Or you can have good infiltration and the heavy aggregates, the little tiny bits, keep the soil in place during heavy rains, so you'll get much less erosion. Which would you prefer in your garden? Do you want to replace all those nutrients and other things that wash away every year with your own expensive chemical fertilizers? Or do you want to have a good soil structure that encourages microbial life, worms, insects, and other things to feed your soil ecosystem, and have healthier plants as a result? You can throw money away, or you can let nature do its thing.